Knipex Raptor or Knipex Pliers Wrench. Which one should you choose and why? I think this one for HVAC and plumbing, this one for general automotive mechanical. And let me explain why and what the differences are. These are both the 250 and the 10-inch. And let's just go through it. Here I've got this bushing here, this adapter that you see threaded. And if I open up this pliers wrench all the way, this is this here across here is 1 3/4 inches for this bushing. Now, when I lock that on there, you can see the handle is still not closed. It's still a bit of opening, but you still have a good grip on here, and that is quite a large size that you can get a grip on with just a 10-inch wrench. So the width and the adaptability of this wrench is incredible. Now the Raptor doesn't even come close to something like this. There's no way you can get a grip on it. So what's the advantage of the Raptor then? Well, the Raptor, because of the shape of the jaw, if I take this bolt here, which is just under 1 inch, 15/16, and you lock in the Raptor. Now the Raptor, you have to play with the adjustment to get it, just right, so that it locks in properly. Now, once I lock that onto that bolt, you can see here, this is the typical size of what you want. But the advantage of the jaw is that it doesn't allow the bolt to rotate when you're torquing or twisting on it. The bolt is locked in because of this groove. Now, unlike with the pliers wrench, you see here, if I close this wrench down, right, so it's locked in there now. Handle is nice and closed. But when I lock this on here, what happens is that as I'm torquing on something like this, this actually wants to twist and open up the jaw. And so what you have to do with your hand is, as you're twisting, you have to keep that force, and that's what actually you're fighting, is as you rotate, and I found this in the field, as you rotate, depending on how hard you're torquing on it, this wants to twist and open up your jaw, and you have to clamp back down and squeeze it and keep that grip on it. There's no way that you can, unlike the Cobra, there's no way you can push on the handle. It will want to open up on you. So once you have more force, you can see I'm doing it right now. I'm pushing on that handle, and it's gripping it. But if it resists me too much, it will want to twist and open up your jaw. Now that's how the Cobra was originally, and still is made, is because of that groove in the lock there. It clamps on and it prevents any twisting in your pipe. And then what you can do, and you've seen this in a lot of videos, what you can do is once you have a bite on something, you can push down on the handle, and once it's locked in, you can just push on this. And I don't have a now it's not biting because of the hardness of the bolt, but I can, once I have this biting in, then I can push on the handle, and I only need one hand. And you can do that especially with pipe because of the way it bites in the pipe and it prevents it from rotating. Now, because it uses the teeth, it has a harder time doing that with like a hardened bolt. This one here is 8.8, so it has a harder time with the teeth. So it will, but that illustrates the whole point of when it rotates, it wants to open up your jaw on you. Now the Raptor prevents that, and it doesn't need the teeth. So actually when I lock it in, I can hold it, and then I can do what I was saying before with the Cobra. I can push on this back handle and rotate that, and you can't do that with the pliers wrench. Now let's just do a little real-world test here. I have this hard to get at bolt here, and if I get on here, I can adjust it. And again, you have to kind of get it just right so that it doesn't, and you can play that. If it's too wide, it'll open. Too narrow, and you can't get your handle closed. So you have to set it where it's just right. If I go up one, and now I can torque that really nice and tight. I can get a lot of grip, and that that groove there prevents it from rotating. It wants to, but now I can flip it, and you can see this is a very hard to reach spot in here. And I can flip it now. And easy, that's no problem. And I can even start going back, and even I can, because of that, this hook here, it prevents it from rotating. I can even go backwards. Now, it wants to even open up even more so you don't have the self-closing action when you go backwards, but it can be done. Now this is I picked this one because it's a really tight spot, and it's hard to rotate in here. So even in this way, I can't get it. So I've got limited room. Now what I have to do, I have to get on the side of it. I can really cinch it up tight, and I can just angle up my plier a little bit and go over this next piece and really get it on there and torque it. Now let's try and see what we can do with the pliers wrench. Now the thing is here in this tight spot, you can see right away with a tight spot like this, I can't seat it fully back in the jaw. So I'm in the middle of the jaw, and you can see as the further you get out, the harder it's going to be to clamp, right? The further in you are, the more clamping force you have with your handle. And when you're out here, as you rotate, it's going to want to force your handle open. And that's what you have to fight against when you rotate. You can see here that when I'm rotating, you can see it wants to do that. If I go in a little bit, it's fighting me less, but it is starting to round. And I can't get anything on this. Like, even though I can go a little bit deeper, I couldn't hook in here with this one. I had to go here, and my knuckles are banging here. I could still torque more of this. Whereas this here, I'm in a more ideal position leverage-wise, but because it wants to rotate and I can't clamp anymore, I'm clamping as hard as I can on the edge of this handle here. It's still not torquing. Now to undo it, let's see if I can undo it. Now I should be able to. Yeah, and I can undo it okay, but I couldn't tighten it anymore with this than I could with this. Now what I can do as another test is let's tighten it up as much as I can get. And see, you can see I'm rounding the bolt a little bit there. I tighten it up as much as I can get, and that's it. Now it's starting to open and round. Now, can I do a little bit more in a less advantageous position? So I can't really hook it here. I could even try it backwards just for kicks and see. Yeah, so nothing backwards. And here, let me actually just see if I can adjust it a little bit more close. So I have to close it just a little bit, one notch. And that's the thing, you got to get this just about right here. Okay, so that's kind of the ideal setting where my handle is almost fully closed. And this is a hard spot. Yeah. Because this position here, the way it's rotated, if I can rotate a little bit more. Yeah, it's cinched up pretty tight. So I'm not getting, but you can see it's not, this is not as fully as versatile, you know, depending on the spot that you're in. It's like here, this one, it's easier to tighten. It's going to be harder to loosen. But this one's going to be easier, you know, to tighten because I can get in here and really crank it tight. But this one here, because I can't get any extra advantage. I was doing it before and I was able to actually, just because of the position of the bolt. But here, because my hands are out here, I can't get much more on it. So that's some of the differences between these two. This one, you can see for nuts and bolts, it's a little bit better. Tighter spots you can, but not necessarily. You can still get a grip, but you're losing some of your power. So there's a trade-off. I picked this one because it was very hard to see the differences, and basically the advantages here almost even out. Where because I can't quite hook this, I have to grip it in here, and then my knuckles are over. Now, obviously, I can take this out, and it'll be easier, but just as a test, as if I couldn't, I would have to work here, and I would be basically, I'd have it torqued out to the max. And where this one, even though I have a more advantageous position, because it wants to force the jaw open, it's maxed out as well. So in a tight spot like this, you know, it all depends, but ultimately, you know, with a better position here, you know, you can, and now see here with this, you know, I can show you here where it's a little bit better in the camera. When I have it locked in here, I can just push on this handle. You can see I'm torquing that bolt now. Whereas with this wrench, let's try it on the same one here. You know, if I push on this handle, no, it opens up. So I can't do it because it doesn't lock in. And so that's the biggest difference. So I hope that helps and you find it interesting.